Hello, everyone, and welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World, brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan your next Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. It will literally cost you nothing to book with Dreams Unlimited Travel, and they'll always be on your side to help you look for discounts and rebooking and any of that sort of stuff. So again, visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. I am your host, Ryan O'Clavin, and in this week, we're going to be doing part 2 of our tournament bracket challenge to discover what is the best attraction at Magic Kingdom Theme Park. To join me for this discussion, we've got Miss Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
Corey Fiasco.
Hey, everybody.
And always, Craig Williams.
Oh, hoy, hoy.
Now, like I said last week, we did have some technical problems while we were recording. We were recording both episodes at once. We got about halfway through the second episode, and then we had to stop. But so you might see us change clothes at some point if you are watching. If you're listening, hopefully you notice nothing, and I've done my job well. But I'm just letting you know. We got too far in to toss the episode and redo again. So we're just going to keep going and power through. The attractions that are left here for round 2 are Peter Pan, Riverboat, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Haunted Mansion, Country Bear, Big Thunder Mountain, Tiki Room, Carousel of Progress, Tom Sawyer Island, Walt Disney World Railroad, Pirates of the Caribbean, Jungle Cruise, Buzz Lightyear, Splash Mountain, Astro Orbiter, and The People Mover are all left in here. I believe that is all of them. When we go through the episode, I might have missed something, and I'll put it back in here. But that's all I see right here in my notes right now. So we are going to get started, and we're going to go with Peter Pan's Flight versus... let me just double check. Peter Pan's Flight versus the Riverboat. So, Denny, I want to hear from you first.
Oh my gosh. That's not fair. Okay, Peter Pan's Flight or the Riverboat? Good gravy. Okay, I'm going to say Peter Pan's Flight. Both fantastic, both classic. I love them both very much. But there's just something, you get to be a kid again on Peter Pan's Flight, and I just love it.
All right, Craig, what do you think?
I have to continue an argument I used last time around, and that is on the payoff. To me, I can always say Peter Pan pretty much is going to be, that would be on the bottom half of mine. I think it's special, but it's just, if all of this is even, Fast Pass is all thrown out the window, what would I be more likely to do? Wait for the Riverboat or Peter Pan's Flight? Got to be a Riverboat.
All right, Fiasco, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know the ride is really short, and I know the wait time is really, really long, but I still gotta give it to Peter Pan. It just fills me up with all the feels. I really do love this attraction so much. And while there are things on this bracket that could beat it for me, we haven't met one yet, so Peter Pan.
Craig Williams, I believe you're going to have to get Jackie Gailey on the horn again to break the tie for us.
I don't have to, because Peter Pan's Flight is one of her favorite attractions. So
I know. I was going to say Riverboat. Similar reasonings to Craig, the payoff, but also I find the Riverboat to be more of this like journey through time and this like kind of, I don't know. There's just something really special about it, and I feel like I'm less likely to experience something like that anywhere else than I am at Disney World, unless I live where there's frequent riverboats, I guess. Maybe I'll have to ask Corey and Julie about that sometime. But all right, so Peter Pan makes it. Next up, we are going to see Seven Dwarfs Mine Train face off against the Haunted Mansion. Fiasco, why don't you go first?
This is a tough one. This is a tough one for me. But I'm going to have to give it to Hana Mansion, because I do really, really like both of these rides a lot, both very close to the top 5 attractions for me, but not quite there, but very close. The reason I'm going to have to give it to Haunted Mansion over Mine Train is 2 reasons. 1, the obvious nostalgia, and 2, how often I find myself going to it. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, really, really long waits. Very, very hard Fast Pass to get. And while Hana Mansion does warrant up to an hour wait on any given day, the Fast Passes I find are very easy to get, which makes me go on over and over and over again. So that's what I'm going to give it to Hana Mansion, just by an inch, though.
Denny, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Haunted Mansion. It, when you pit the two together, just Haunted Mansion is an attraction that everyone in the entire family can ride. And Seven Dwarfs, if you have someone who, that because the way that they designed the attraction vehicle, it hinders not everyone can enjoy it at the same level. And Craig, I'm not tall like you are, so I'm fine, but not everyone's fine in it. So I got to give it to Haunted Mansion. Classic attraction.
All right, Craig, do I have to ask you, or are you just going to tell me?
Yeah, Hana Mansion. So.
Okay, all right. So Haunted Mansion's going to win this one. I feel like I've said what I needed to say about it before. I just think it's basically the story for me wins out just over the other one. But if you're a roller coaster person, I get why you'd like the other one, I guess. So next up, we are going to have Country Bear Jamboree versus Big Thunder Mountain. Craig Williams, go.
I am going to still go with Country Bear Jamboree just because it's everything good I said about Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, that all still stands, but Country Bear Jamboree, that is still unique in a sense, unless you try to say, well, anything where there's music and singing and is in a show, that's all the same as roller coasters. But I feel like roller coasters are more, you can have multiple other roller coasters in Magic Kingdom, but to me, there's only one Country Bear Jamboree. So that's it.
Okay. All right. Fiasco, what do you think?
Yeah. Country Bear Jamboree for sure. This is just, again, something that I'm going to go to over Big Thunder. Same thing Craig said. My reasons for liking Big Thunder and it being my favorite of the mountains also stands, but Country Bear's going to have to take it.
And Denny?
Big Thunder, baby. I love Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Now, it's hard because I love both of them very much. But if I think about what I'm writing more when my time that I'm in the Magic Kingdom, it's Big Thunder. I love the thrills. I have a personal love of it. Rode it with my grandmother when I was young, and it's Big Thunder.
Oh my gosh, this is a tough one for me.
Yes.
This is like really, really tough because I do love these both, and they're probably my favorite attractions in the park, I think, to be honest with you. And Haunted Mansion, but I'm like, I think it happens a lot, but I think I'm going to side with Craig here on Country Bear, and that's going to make it through to the next round as it deserves. But it is one of those where I think it's basically, who are you? What do you want out of the attraction? I don't know. I don't know. Now I feel bad. But I also would feel bad if I hadn't picked Country Bear too, so I'm in a no-win scenario here. Next up, though, this is also a tough one, and I'm going to make Craig go first again. Enchanted Tiki Room versus Carousel of Progress.
Oh my gosh.
That is a tricky one.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough.
It's very tough. I think.
Okay, you know what, Craig?
What?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to give you if you needed more time to think about it. I was going to say I could probably weigh in, I think, but
no, I'm going to say I'm going to go from an outside perspective on this and say if you forced someone who likes going to Walt Disney World but definitely isn't in that niche group of like, oh, I love the Carousel of Progress or Enchanted Tiki Room, if you put that person in through both of these and then ask them when they come out which one they probably preferred more, I feel like they can get more from Carousel of Progress. Despite my love of Tiki, as soon as people start hearing the clicking of the birds and the flowers and everything else, I feel like that to them is taken out. Whereas, with Carousel of Progress, you can laugh about the last scene over and over, but everything else kind of leading up to it is pretty solid. So it hurts, but Carousel of Progress.
Okay, all right. Fiasco, what do you think?
Yep, gotta be Carousel of Progress for me. Like I mentioned in the last installment of this, the people chaining themselves to the building, if it was ever threatened to be closed down, I would be amongst them. I love this attraction, and it's gotta go through for me.
All right, Denny, what do you think?
There is a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and it is the Carousel of Progress. That's a hard one. This is like an impossible. It's choosing your favorite child, but I do love Carousel of Progress so much. So that gets my vote.
I'm going to go with Carousel of Progress as well, because that is also one of my favorites, but it is a really tough choice. But it is Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress, as well as, I know Tiki Room has also got that history in there, but it is, it's a tough one, because the Tiki Room is enchanted. It is magical. I do still feel like I go in there and think like that's cool. And, but Carousel, I just like seeing through the ages, sort of a thing. So next up, we have Tom Sawyer Island versus Walt Disney World Railroad. Denny, I'm going to make you go first.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Even though I love Tom Sawyer Island, I love to sit there and watch the parents try to navigate the barrel bridge. That's endless family fun right there. I gotta say the railroad, because it is classic. Walt loved railroads, loved trains, and I do too. I have to give it to the railroad.
Okay, all right. The railroad has it. Fiasco, what do you think?
Yeah, both very nostalgic things here in the park. It's ultimately going to come down to, for me, just pure personal preference, and with that, I'll put through the railroad.
Okay, what about you, Craig?
I prefer the railroad, but if I had to, in the grand scheme of all of this, if I had to say what's the more well-rounded experience, I would say Tom Sawyer Island.
Tom Sawyer Island. Okay, Denny, you just told me railroad, right?
Yep. Although
okay,
I do love Aunt Polly's
right.
on the island. I love when that's open.
But it's not open all the time.
But when, depending on the time of season, it's open. It's cool. But no.
I think I'm going with the railroad too, just because it is that, like, I think of like Walt in the backyard, but also I am partial to railroads, and I think they are both very interesting attractions. For me, it just railroad edges it out just a little bit. So next up, we're going to have Pirates versus Jungle Cruise. Pirates of the Caribbean versus Jungle Cruise. Fiasco, why don't you go first?
So this is going to have to be Pirates. Like I mentioned before, it's my favorite attraction at World and at Land, conveniently. Although this doesn't change anything from my love for Jungle Cruise. Like I said, theming in the office here, very much Jungle Cruise. I love it so much. I love my Disney boat rides more than anything. Both Pirates and Jungle Cruise are top 5. I know this for sure. But Pirates advances.
Craig, what do you say?
I respect your opinions, but I'm sorry. Even the worst Jungle Cruise skipper, if you got on that boat and they didn't speak the entire time, and it was just a quiet ride, actually, that'd be hilarious. So I take that back. If you had a person who messed up every joke to the point that it wouldn't be funny, like, even that would be better than having to sit through listening to Red or people talking about Johnny Depp, or then Johnny Depp himself in the last part where he gets to sing. 15 years ago, Pirates of the Caribbean, I'd probably put it through to the very end, but they have just taken that attraction and made it worse and worse with every iteration through the years. So yeah, it's I understand the affinity for it, but it's not my Pirates.
Denny, what about you? Pirates versus Jungle Cruise.
All right, 2 classic Adventureland attractions, and it's very, very hard to choose one or the other, but I'm going to go with Pirates because I love it. It's something that the entire family can enjoy. Loved it as a kid. My dad totally psyched me out into thinking the 7-foot hill was going to be a whole lot bigger than it was, but it's got to be Pirates.
So for me, this is such a tough decision because I do love Jungle Cruise. I just love that it's become this, like, it's got this culture associated with it. It's funny. It's everything. I'm gonna pick Pirates, and it's solely because I love when an attraction can take you through like different times of day. And there's something about Pirates when you're, going through the town and the city's on fire, and there's like the clouds on the ceiling and stuff, and there, and the tunnel and the drop, and there's just that little bit of extra for me that I think Pirates takes it for me. And this is hard. This is tough, guys. This is really tough. Next up, we've got Buzz Lightyear versus Splash Mountain. Fiasco, why don't you go first?
So, I know it's going to get pushed through here, but personally, like I said before, Splash isn't a ride that I frequent, so I would probably push Buzz through just because it is a really fun ride. I mentioned previously, every time I go on it, with no matter who I'm going on it with, it's always so much fun, even though I'm terrible. But I understand where the votes are going to go, but I'm not going to speak for you guys. So, yeah. Buzz for me.
Okay. Denny, what do you think?
So it's Buzz or Space, right?
Buzz or Splash.
Oh, Splash. Forgive me. Oh, goodness. I'm going to go with Buzz Lightyear. I'm more frequently on that attraction.
Oh.
I love, I do enjoy Space Mountain. I'm not going to say I love it. I do enjoy it, or Splash Mountain. But yes, definitely, I definitely go with Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin.
That's a surprise.
Why do you?
I know.
I know. I'm actually kind of shocked right now. So.
Sorry.
Craig, what do you think?
Oh, if anyone out there says that they like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin over Splash Mountain, I think they're just trying to get tarred and feathered by the internet. Like,
I don't think that you heard what
it's
the
Splash
other two
Mountain.
voted.
I didn't, because as I said, probably that's getting cut out of this. I'm uploading and downloading other videos and working in the background, so my connection is not great while we're all talking. But it's literally, it's even if you have to step out of your body and be a different person for a second, there is no difference. And there's no comparison between the two attractions. One is a marquee attraction that will be around for years and years. The other could get bulldozed next week, and there would be like 6 people, including Steve Porter, who miss it. So, yeah, Splash Mountain.
That's Craig Williams keeping it real.
Yep, yeah, and knocking down the other 2 people who had already voted for Buzz Lightyear. So
that's fine, just fine.
I personally enjoy Buzz Lightyear quite a bit, and I am in the camp where I find that I am on this attraction. I probably ride this attraction one of the most of the attractions at Magic Kingdom, one of the most, but I do think it could easily eventually become something else, where Splash Mountain is kind of always going to be Splash Mountain. And again, I give it to Splash Mountain because of the intricacy and the story that it tells. And but I do love Buzz Lightyear. So we actually have a tie. So I'm going to text Jackie and find out what moves forward here. But until then, we can move on to our next round, which is going to be Astro Orbiter versus the People Mover. Denny, why don't you go first?
Oh, good heavens, it's People Mover. It is People Mover all day long. While I love Astro Orbiter, I love that ours is way up high, as opposed to Disneyland's right now. It's definitely People Mover. It is that perfect attraction. Everyone in the family can go on it, and everyone will get to see amazing views of the Magic Kingdom.
What about you, Fiasco? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a really good matchup because both attractions give you great views. But for me, it's People Mover hands down. This isn't only the attraction that I frequent more often, but I also would argue it's also the better attraction. It's one of my absolute favorites, and it's also, I'd say, more friendly to more people. For me personally, I don't like the idea of going on Astro Orbiter because it feels very like claustrophobic. The queue isn't very open. You go on that elevator up and then you wait there for a while, and I don't love it. Not to mention I don't love spinning around in a circle. Those hub and spoke attractions are better than something like the teacups, but still not my absolute favorite thing ever. Whereas, I mean, People Mover is just a jam. So,
Craig, what do you think?
I prefer Astro Orbiter if I had to choose between the two. I'm so over the People Mover. It's like that's how I feel about it. But People Mover overall is the better attraction, all things considered. But so People Mover, but my personal vote outside of this is Astro Orbiter.
I do think the Astro Orbiter does offer a unique when it comes to those hub and spoke, because like you said, Denny, it's up high. You got really cool views. I am terrified of that heights. Like I've said before, that video, it will not surface. But I think it is. I actually think it's the best of the hub and spoke attractions at Magic Kingdom. But I love the People Mover. I think it's something for everyone, afraid of heights or not. But I love that you get to take a break on it and you get to see the like dioramas and stuff. So I'm going with People Mover. Also, I have some shocking news right now.
No way.
I text Jackie Gailey, and she like. Within a second, texted me back, and she said Buzz Lightyear, and I said, "Oh wow!" And she said, "I don't like the hill on Splash Mountain." So
like
people are
Dallas,
just going to basically, yeah.
It's like the Dallas Cowboys beating the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah, a travesty.
I don't even watch sports, and I knew that would be a big deal. So.
Oh yeah, well being Massachusetts, you're not allowed to like anything else. So
yeah.
I am surprised, and people are not going to like this video, so that's fine. It's fine.
It's
whatever.
That's a bracket upset.
It's not that they're not going to like the video. It's that they're not going to like Fiasco, and they're not going to like Denny, and they're not going to like Jackie.
And I guess I can live with that.
Oh, well.
Just kidding. I like you guys. Okay, well, we are moving.
They ate a lot of paint chips.
We're moving into round 3 now, and that is going to put Peter Pan's Flight versus Haunted Mansion. Craig, why don't you go first?
Hana Mansion. It's the same thing we've talked about. Peter Pan's completely overrated.
Denny, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Haunted Mansion. I enjoy them both very much, but it's Haunted. It's Haunted Mansion. It's its legacy. It's the whole 9 yards.
Okay, Fiasco, what do you say?
This is not as easy of an answer for me. Peter Pan is so near and dear to my heart, and I love this attraction so much. Yeah, the queue time is ridiculous for a ride that's so short, but I really do. It's one of my favorite rides. With that being said, though, so is Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is also one of my favorite rides, and I would give it to Haunted Mansion, but just by a slight margin.
All right, Haunted Mansion for me as well. So Haunted Mansion moves through into the next round. Next up here, let me just update this. Next up, we have Country Bear Jamboree versus the Carousel of Progress. Denny, you have to go first this time.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the Carousel of Progress. That is the one that brings me the most joy. That is the one that I enjoy the most. And I just, while I do love Country Bear, again, it goes back to legacy for me and Carousel's origins at the World's Fair. It's just got to be Carousel.
Craig, what do you think?
So Denny has a good point about legacy, but then there's one thing you have to also remember, that Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress is nothing like, it is similar to what it was at the World's Fair, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's a complete different attraction.
True.
Whereas Country Bear Jamboree, that has also been slashed compared to what it originally was when it opened, but it is still an icon of Magic Kingdom. And whereas I feel like something like Carousel of Progress, I will always appreciate it and love it, I think it would actually be a lot better if it was back at home in Disneyland, where it should be all along. But like, for me, Country Bear Jamboree is that legacy for Magic Kingdom. So for me, Country Bear Jamboree.
What do you say,
Fair.
Fiasco?
This one, it just got tougher. I said Peter Pan and Hana Mansion was the hardest one so far. This is now the hardest one so far. The way I described Carousel of Progress before is if they ever said they were getting rid of it here in Disney World, you'd have people chain themselves to the building. I would say the same about Country Bear, and both very similar as far as the type of attraction we're looking at too. This is really tough. My personal preference is leaning towards Carousel of Progress, but I think I might have to give it to Country Bear, because Carousel of Progress is one of those attractions that I love. It's one of my favorite, but as far as when my family's here with like younger teenagers and kids, it's not something that translate as well to them. They don't; those age groups don't often want to sit through it. It's much more for like the nostalgic Disney diehard fan, whereas Country Bear translates to everybody. So, as equal as they are to me right now, I have to put through Country Bear for that reason.
Yeah, you know what? You actually made some really good points there that I was thinking about. That like, if you're going to bring a kid into one of these two attractions, which one do you think the kid's going to get more out of? Not to say that he won't get a lot out of. Like, I love seeing the progression of time through Carousel of Progress. I love the building moving, and I love how all the things kind of come to life. I do feel like it's become, because stuff is not working as well as it maybe should be, has become a lot of some of the shines come off, you know? And, you know, especially kids today, when they get to that last scene, we already have all of that stuff. So it's like a weird thing, you know, you don't really get a glimpse of the future necessarily, but I do love the family aspect, but Country Bear has that as well. I asked Jackie in the event that I wasn't going to be able to make up my mind. She said Carousel of Progress, but I think I am leaning slightly toward Country Bear Jamboree, solely because I'm trying to think of it from a perspective of if it was a large group, you know, who would enjoy what more. So but the building moves in the other one. I'm going to go with Country Bear. I'm going with Country Bear.
That's a tough one.
It is. I think back to when Craig said earlier in this episode or another episode where he said that Country Bear was like, it was Florida. You know, they're out of Tampa, right? And so yeah. I think that is our attraction. You know, that is Walt Disney World's attraction. So I'll give it that, you know, whatever. I have to move on before I start like tearing my brain apart.
They're all going to be tough at this point. All the decisions are going to be hard. Yeah.
I got another tough one for you right now.
Oh.
We've got the Walt Disney World Railroad versus Pirates of the Caribbean. Fiasco, why don't you go first?
See, this is tough because we're really tearing at my preferences here, because Pirates is my favorite attraction, but the Walt Disney World Railroad, I mean, how much more classic can you really get? But again, Pirates is still such a classic, beloved attraction as well. So I'm gonna lean into my preferences right now and say Pirates of the Caribbean. Lock it in. That's my answer.
All righty. Denny, what do you say?
All right, so yes, the railroad is iconic. Yes, Walt loved trains, so this really does pull at my heartstrings too, but it's got to be Pirates of the Caribbean. I will never tire of going on that attraction. Not that I would the railroad either, but for me, it is just a hair more iconic to me personally. I enjoy it greatly.
All right, Craig, what do you say?
I'd say the railroad. Just basing it on which one would, if I could never ride one of those two ever again at Walt Disney World at Magic Kingdom, which one would I be more upset about? It would be the railroad. So.
Okay. I am actually also going with the railroad for selfish reasons, because the railroad is near and dear to my heart in that same way with my grandparents and growing up on Edaville Railroad and being around trains so much as a kid that I would be heartbroken if that train didn't always operate. And there's just something that brings out this magic, you know, not to be cliche with the word magic, but there's just something about a train from like, and that sound the train makes, you know, the toot and the and the steam and like the locomotive making the chugging sound, and so there's a lot for me that I do that. So, but Jackie Gailey has weighed in, and she has said pirates. She said it's a really hard one, but she said pirates. So pirates will advance, much to my chagrin. I don't even know if that's the right word, but that's what I'm saying. So next up, we're going to have Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin versus the People Mover. Craig, why don't you weigh in first?
People Mover. The fact that Buzz Lightyear has made it this far is just, I'm ashamed of everyone else involved in this. So,
okay. Well, Denny, what do you think? What do you say?
Yeah, okay, so it's time for Buzz to, to go off into the sunset, and because it's People Mover, hands down for me. I love the fact I want to be stalled. I want the ride to, just stop in front of the chunk of the Epcot diorama that we have and the mock-up. I cannot get enough of seeing that, and that alone is enough for the People Mover, for people to go on it and for it to move on.
Okay. Fiasco, what about you?
All along, I was an undercover agent for the People Mover, advancing Buzz Lightyear so the People Mover could beat Splash Mountain, which, have an easier time against Buzz Lightyear. I didn't actually plan that, but I thought that would be funny. Yeah, People Mover, hands down. That one's pretty easy for me, actually.
Okay. All right. I'll go. I was going to go with, I think see, I'm tossed because I love the interactivity of Buzz Lightyear, but I also love the People Mover. I think it's a nice attraction to go on to get that everyone can enjoy, like I've already said. So I'm just throwing it in. People Mover has advanced to the next round. So this is now round, I don't know, round
42.
42. Yeah, for real. That's what it feels like, right? All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 attractions left here. It's Haunted Mansion. 4. I know. Hana Mansion, Country Bear, Pirates, and People Mover. So first up, Haunted Mansion versus Country Bear. Denny, you tell me what you think.
I'm going to stick with Haunted Mansion, just for the sheer how frequent I am on that attraction versus Country Bears. I love Country Bear Jamboree. I love that they're from Tampa, and, all the guys who turned me on, turned me down. That's just as cute as it can be. But I'm gonna have to go with Haunted Mansion.
Fiasco, what do you think?
Yeah, another really, really tough one. I would probably have to say Hana Mansion as well, but just again by a small margin. Country Bear could beat a lot of attractions on the list, but I don't think Haunted Mansion is going to be one of them. If you go to Disney for your first time ever and you come home, probably some of your fondest attractions will be among Haunted Mansion and Country Bear. And I can't really say that wasn't the case for me. I remembered both those attractions very fondly on my first trip, but I'll just have to advance Haunted Mansion just by a small margin. I frequent both so much, it's hard for me to justify it, but that's my answer.
What do you think, Craig?
I have pretty much made my opinion clear that I think the 2 best attractions at Magic Kingdom are Splash Mountain and Country Bear Jamboree, so it's not a surprise on what I would vote for, but just so we don't have to ask Jackie on the offset that you would, for some reason, also say Country Bear Jamboree, I'll just say Haunted Mansion so we don't have to get Jackie involved.
Oh, I don't think she dislikes being involved. She's going to be in the next episode, so she's earned her thing. So even if I was on the line, she voted for Haunted Mansion. So the vote is for Haunted Mansion. So, which I'm fine with that because Haunted Mansion I do feel like is one of the best. I've already said it on shows many a times that Haunted Mansion is, I think, one of the best examples of Disney's ingenuity, innovation, and storytelling all like wrapped into like one thing. So So next we have Pirates of the Caribbean versus People Mover. And Denny, I'm going to let you weigh in here first.
Okay, it's got to be Pirates. It just has to be. I mean, I know that both have their, their people who absolutely stand behind them, and both are very, very valid. That's the whole point here. But I gotta go with Pirates. I just don't think anything else can beat that attraction in my
we'll find out.
Little heart. I know, in my heart. We'll see.
Fiasco, what about you?
Yeah, this is incredibly tough for me, but I think we have a very Pirates-heavy crew here, with me and Denny willing to push Pirates past anything. So it's my favorite attraction. It's my absolute favorite attraction. Now, there are things on this list that I might side against Pirates on just because of different elements we'll get to if it comes to that. But for this, I will have to push Pirates through. It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite.
And Craig?
People Mover. I don't know if it made it into the video, but this Pirates of the Caribbean that we have, this current version with Red and everything and Johnny Depp, it's just so annoying to me that I really can't stress this enough. And you can call me a curmudgeon all you want. I would be okay never going on it again. It's just, once they revamp it again, I'll give it another shot.
Oh my gosh. So Craig saying Pirates never, ever. I am going to give it to Pirates solely because I think there's more story involved. Not that I don't like the People Mover. I just think there's a lot more story and all that jazz. So that means Pirates has made it to the next round. So we are on our final round, and it is down to Haunted Mansion versus Pirates of the Caribbean. I know. This is a tough one. Craig, you're going to get to go first this time. And I was going to say, I already know what you're going to say. Denny, what do you say?
Whenever I've got the chance to get a fast pass to Pirates or Haunted Mansion, I always go for Pirates first. Haunted Mansion is there. Yes, I enjoy it. Yes. But it comes behind other attractions for me, including Pirates. So Pirates.
Oh, okay. Fiasco, what do you say?
Okay, now this is what I was talking about. So, if I leaned all the way into my preference, it would obviously be Pirates. But I wouldn't say that the Walt Disney World Pirates is a better attraction than the Walt Disney World Haunted Mansion. The Imagineering that went into the Hana Mansion is just so strong. The scenes still hold up so well today, especially that ballroom scene. Now, if this was Disneyland Pirates, I might be able to argue my preference a little bit more. But at Disney World, this is one of the few attractions that I would advance over my Pirates is still my number one favorite. But I would advance Haunted Mansion over it because I think it is all around a bit better.
Okay, well, I am also selecting Haunted Mansion, and Jackie Gailey I asked as well. She said Haunted Mansion, just in case we needed the tiebreaker. And so, like I've said before, I do personally believe that Haunted Mansion is a great example of all things. It's got practical effects, it's got these cool special effects, it's got the ride vehicle with the Omnimover, all these kind of, and then the story all wrapped. It's all the things you love about Disney too, that kind of spooky but everybody can enjoy it, like that. It's got the song in it. It's everything wrapped into one for me, so I love it. So there you have it, Haunted Mansion, decided by this bracket, and this group of weirdos has been named the number one attraction at Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. So I'm sure a lot of you out there disagree, so I'd love to see your comments in the comment section below if you are watching this. That'll do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for having this conversation. Thank you, and everyone out there for listening and watching. Remember, if you are trying to plan that next Disney vacation, go with Dreams Unlimited Travel. Visit them on the web at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. It won't cost you a thing. They can help you get started on your next trip, and would love to see you down here. So that'll do it. We'll see you next time with another episode of The Best and Worst of Walt Disney World. Bye, everyone.